what we're going to do is we're going to look at standard form again. It is section 5.4, but we're going to do day 2. All right. So mainly looking at standard form 6B standard. If you remember from yesterday, we took those equations and we put them in standard form. Some students were asking me, Mrs. Medvick, I checked my book and my answers aren't the same. Well, it depends on what you multiplied it by. So your answers might not work with the book. If you want me to look at them, just let me know during work time and I can come around and check them. There were only a couple of them, but it is an important concept. And then what we did was we took ordered pairs and we put them in standard form. Now, let's review just a little bit. Remember we did slope, intercept form. And remember that was y equals mx plus b, where m was my slope and b was my y-intercept. And most of you have a pretty good grasp of that right now. All right. And then I recently introduced you to standard form. And remember with standard form, it was ax plus by equals c. And remember the a, we said it can't be a negative number and it can't be a fraction. Now, some students, when they were checking their work, they said, Mrs. Medvick, in the back of the book, they did have fractions and they did have negative numbers. I'm just taking it a step further. So what you do is you do it the way that I asked you to do it so that it's not negative and it's not a fraction. Look one step back and that answer will be in the book. Okay. I'm just going a little bit further because in Algebra 2, when you get to Algebra 2, most books, most teachers, that first number before the x really shouldn't be a negative number. And it really shouldn't be a fraction. So while we're there, we're just going to take care of it because it's a pretty easy concept. All right. Today what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about equations of horizontal and vertical lines. We've done this before. We've talked about it before. In fact, you were kind of assessed on it in the last chapter. So I'm going to draw a picture to kind of show you this. When you do your homework, you do not need to draw the picture. But if you're a visual learner, this will be like, oh, cool. Yeah, I totally get this. Okay. So in your notes, I want you to write it, but when you do your homework, you don't need to. All right. So I have this. There's my x-axis, my y-axis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this dot that they're referring to is right here. It's negative 10, 5. You see that? My x is negative 10 and my y is 5. Now, what they're asking us is they say write equations of the horizontal and vertical lines. There is a horizontal line and there's a vertical line that pass through this dot. Now, if I talk about a vertical line, what does that look like? That's correct. It is up and down. And so I'm going to draw that in. This is vertical. And which axis does it cut? Cuts the x-axis. So the equation for this is x equals, and in the ordered pair, what does it equal? Negative 10. And you're done. You're done. Now, technically, what is the slope of a vertical line? You're thinking degrees. It's not 180 degrees. It's not 90 degrees. What is the slope? It's not 0. It's error on your calculator, but you're smarter than your calculator. So what do you put down? You put undefined or 0 with a dash through it, which means undefined, correct? Okay. So when you do these, and this is a really important concept, you're going to write vertical, you're going to write x equals, and you're going to take the x from the ordered pair. right? And it's a really important concept. You're going to see it in Algebra 2. You're going to see it in geometry. It's not the y equals mx plus b, so kids get confused on it. And remember, my slope is undefined, right? Horizontal line goes through that point like this. It should go through this little, should kind of go through there too. There, kind of get the idea. There we go, horizontal line. So I'm going to write horizontal, right? And it cuts what axis? The y. And where does it cut it? At 5. And I'm done. What is the slope of a horizontal line? Is 0. So when you do this in your homework, all you need to do is write horizontal, y equals 5. Vertical, x equals -10. Done. You don't have to draw it. But for my visual learners, sometimes you need to see it to be able to do it. And that's okay. If you want to draw it, go ahead and do that. But you need to remember it and you need to understand it. Questions?
So both of those are m. You have m equals 0 and m is undefined.
That's the slope. Right. And you need to know that. They're not asking you for that, but you need to know that. Okay? All right, let's move on. We're going to find the missing coefficient in the equation of a line that passes through -2, 2. And it says write the completed equation. So like don't just find B, you got to make sure that you go full circle and finish the question, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to take this ordered pair. I've got X and I've got Y in the ordered pair, and I'm going to use them in that equation to find B. So we need to find the B. We need to find that number in front of Y. Now, a lot of kids are like, I don't know how to find it. Well, if they give you an ordered pair, what do you think you're going to do with it? You're going to plug it in, right? So I'm going to take this, and I'm going to go 6. What's my X? -2 plus, what's my B? B, I don't know that. What's my Y? 2, and that equals 4. Okay, now we're going to solve it. So 6 times -2 is -12 plus. Now, I do not like this as B2. What should I rewrite it as? 2B. That's correct. Equals 4. Okay, now what do I do? Very good. I'm going to add 12. Notice I'm showing my work. They cancel. 2B equals 16. 2B or not to be? That is the question. Shakespeare came into math. Yes. Love Shakespeare. All right. Now what do I do? Divide by 2. B equals 8. Okay, am I done? No. Why? I have to have the completed equation. That's what it asked me to do. So I'm going to write 6x plus 8y equals 4. Done. So you used all that other stuff to get that B. Now that you have it, you can complete your equation and be done. Questions? All right. Here's your love for the day. The love of knowledge. I feel it. It's a big heart because we love it. 314. I'm going to have you do 23 to 28. A student asked me, is that odd? Well, is 28 odd? No. So it's all of them. And they go pretty quick, so it's not that big a deal. And then I've got 31 to 35 odd. Okay. And then, I know, because you need more love. Page 942. Now that's in that in your iPads, that green icon or that green little slide, that the book part, go further and you're going to find the blue part, and that's where the blue is. So it's in the green part of your iPad, okay? And I want you to do 1 through 12 and 19 to 21. Now, last hour they had 15 minutes. They got through, I think there were a couple that actually finished. There were like 2 or 3 on 19. I mean, they really booked it. It wasn't hard. It goes real quick, and you'll be able to finish it tonight if you mean business. Okay? If you don't mean business? Huh? All right, make sure you do them and check your answers. I'll be walking around in a few minutes to answer questions. So get things out, and I'll be around.